Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and it's Wednesday Warriors. And today I'm going to be responding to the question, setting goals and making plans. How will this help me and how do I do this? Now this is a good question because whether you're recovering from an eating disorder or not, you need to know how to set goals and how to make plans because we are all seeking to be better people in some way or another. So how will this help you? Setting goals and making plans will help you because it will cause you to focus on things to improve your life. And everyone needs to improve their lives. How it's going to help you is it's going to give you things to reach for, give you things to achieve. And what you have to remember is that if you don't achieve these goals or follow through with these plans in a certain time frame, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. You have to cut yourself a little bit of slack. You can't beat yourself up for not following through with everything. I mean, the point obviously is to follow through, but if you mean to do something and you don't quite get to it, you don't quite reach the goal that you wanted to reach by a certain date, then that's something that you need to tell yourself, it's okay, I'll get there eventually. Because the kind of goals that have to do with eating disorder recovery, they aren't things that can be etched into stone. They aren't things that we can set specific deadlines for. We can have a sort of date in our mind that we want to shoot for and we want to be at a certain point by a certain date, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that we are failures. It doesn't mean that we have failed. It just means that our line of progress is different than someone else's line of progress. And you need to remember that, because when you set goals and you make plans and they don't happen the way that you anticipate them to, it can actually hinder your recovery instead of help your recovery if you don't have the right mindset when you don't follow through with these things. Hopefully I'm making sense. So how do you do this? How do you set goals and make plans? I personally would make a list. I have a list of goals that are basically life goals. They don't really have to do with eating disorders any longer just because of the point that I'm at, but they are really, really small things, you know, like learn to knit, or, you know, learn another language, something like that, to bigger things. Like get a book published. What else? You know, have a child. Things of that nature that have to do with an ongoing thing for your life. And everybody should have these sorts of goals, whether you write them down or don't write them down. It can even be a page that you keep separately in a journal that you already have, just to you know, be able to tick things off as you do accomplish them. And to have a list that you can cross things off of that are big goals like that can give you such a sense of accomplishment, such a sense of self-confidence, which is what this whole program that the Freedom Fighters are doing for these last several weeks is all about. So I definitely would encourage making a list. Now, if you are not a writer, not a listy kind of person, but you still want to set goals and make plans, you can get someone else in on the business with you, a trusted friend, a trusted family member, and you know, you want to tell them what you're trying to reach for. Even if it's a therapist, somebody that you see on a regular basis, tell your goals to somebody else so that you're not the only one reaching for them, so that you, one, have a cheerleader, someone to encourage you to get to this place, and then two, you have someone to hold you accountable, and three, you have someone that is aware of your goal besides just you, because sometimes, depending on what frame of mind we're in, it can be really easy to forget what your goals are. And like I said before, don't give yourself a strict deadline. You can say, this is where I want to be in a year, and just kind of jot down where you want to be goal-wise and plan-wise. Don't say, I need to be here by my birthday in October. You don't want to give yourself a deadline like that. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to be disappointed, because a lot of the time we are trying to achieve things that are bigger than we are. And if you do that, if you give yourself a strict deadline, it's not like, we're not journalists, we're not writing for a newspaper, we don't need a deadline like that. You just want to have a loose structure for yourself. like I said, it is easier to write it down. A page in your notebook saying, this is where I want to be in a year. You write some things down. Flip a page. This is where I'd like to be in 5 years. Write some things down. Flip a page. This is where I'd like to be in 10 years. Write some things down. I mean, you don't have to go that far ahead if that's just too, astronomical for you at this point, and that's fine. You can start off small. This is where I'd like to be in 6 months. Write some things down. This is where I'd like to be in a year, and stop there. There's nothing wrong with that, because what's probably going to happen as you do change and grow as a person is your goals will change, and your time frame will change as well. I mean, depending on what you want to accomplish, the time frame can get longer, the time frame can get shorter, depending on where you're at mentally and physically and emotionally. The time frame can get longer or shorter as well. So you have to remember that you are the changing piece of this whole puzzle. And even if your goals consistently stay the same, you as a person are going to change. So you need to remember that too. Another reason that setting goals and making plans is going to help you is that it's something that healthy people do. Healthy people make goals and they stick to them. Don't think of your life as a calendar with lots of dates on it that should be circled and have you have certain plans and certain goals and have them met at certain points. You don't want to think of your life as a calendar, because you are not a non-changing being. Setting goals makes you hold yourself accountable, and that's something that a lot of people that are recovering from eating disorders struggle with. Holding yourself accountable is a big thing. It's a very difficult thing. It may be one of the most difficult things. That's why people, turn to therapy and things like that, because they need someone else to hold them accountable, because they just can't do it themselves. And at least they know that if they don't hold themselves accountable all week, they're going to go to therapy and they're going to see someone, and then they can tell that person what they did and have that person try to hold them accountable for the next week. And there's a certain point where you have to start holding yourself accountable. Even if you have someone else on the sidelines helping you to remain accountable for your actions, that's fine. But the goal of therapy or of any kind of appointment of that nature is to one day be able to live on your own and help yourself and be healthy. So setting goals and making plans can help you do this. As most of you know, I lead an eating disorder support group, and no matter how heavy the conversation and discussion might be at a particular group, I end every meeting on a positive note. And the way I end it is I say, "What's your goal for the week?" And I go around the table, and everyone has to tell me what their goal for the week is. And what that does is it gives them something to shoot for until the next time they meet up at group again. And what that does is it helps them to recover, because when they come back, they're going to tell me and everyone else if they've succeeded. They're going to say, "I tried this, this, and this, and it didn't work very well," or "I tried this, this, and this, and it surprisingly really helped me out, and I did well." And it's something that, like I said, healthy people do. It's something that can help you a lot. Do not underestimate the power of making plans and setting goals. If you hate yourself, it's not going to be very easy to make goals and stick to them. So you have to start trying to like yourself. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely possible. And the more you like yourself, the more you want to see yourself succeed. And that is a really big thing. Good luck, everyone!